Welcome back to Huckleberry Bastard. It feels really good to finally be here in the woods after a long winter and some bad weather, not being able to get out. Man, I just being out here just takes all the stress off. So today I'm thinking I'm going to do a knife review or two. Not so much a review, but we'll just take a look at some knives that I picked up at an outdoor show and a recent gun show. They're custom knives by a couple different guys here, companies here in Nova Scotia, and I'm a real sucker for picking up custom knives. If I go to a gun show or anything and I see one, you can almost bet I'm gonna pick one up. So we'll take a look at those and see what you think, and give some support to our local knife makers. And yeah, so let's get started. The knife I'm going to be taking a look at is this custom-made knife by Darren Veinot of Veinotknives. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I'm not the best with French last names. But he's a custom knife maker here in Nova Scotia. I saw him at a recent gun show, and he had a full table display of all of his different knives. He makes different hunting knives and things. I wanted to get one. I'm a sucker for knives. If I see a custom made knife, especially by somebody local, I gotta pick one up. So I picked this one up. I thought it had an interesting profile. So let's take a closer look at it. So what we have is a full tang knife. It's carbon steel 1095, I believe. It has a lanyard hole in the back with just a leather lanyard. The overall length of the knife from the tip to the butt is 11 inches. The blade measures just over 5.7 inches or so. It has about 1/8 of an inch thickness until we get down to right about here, but we'll talk about that in a bit, where it gets a bit thinner. And what I really liked, what really caught my eye at the show, was this kind of different profile where it's kind of swept forward with this big belly. And I'm not sure if this is technically correct, but it kind of has like what I would call like a saber grind starting here. And that really caught my eye and made me interested in the knife. Now, I was kind of at the show just looking at all the finer details and things. And what I didn't notice until later on is that on this side, it's a different grind. He has kind of just a flat grind there. And I spoke to Darren about that, just wondering why that was the case. And he said that he was trying out an asymmetrical design. Now, personally, I don't prefer that because I really like this grind a lot. So, you know, in a perfect world, I like to have both of those on the same side. And the thing that bugs me the most is that because of that different grind on this side, it thins here, but still it's almost still 1/8 of an inch. But I would like it to be consistent the whole way up, so we just have a consistent thickness. So it has wood scales with these brass pins and the logo, which is kind of cool. It's kind of rounded and fat, which is good. I like that. It gives me a good grip. I can get a really good purchase on it. I'm not certain what type of wood it is. I can probably find out and put it in the information below. We have a place for a lanyard, and it's a little cracked there, but I don't really mind that. Adds a bit of character to it. So you can see he has his logo on the blade there, and I'll just give you a closer look at the profile of that blade. Now, when I purchased it, it wasn't super sharp, but he kind of did that on purpose because a lot of people will be handling the knives at the shows and things, and if you have a super razor sharp knife, you never know the experience level of the person handling your knife, so you have to be a bit cautious. But I put a really nice edge on it. I only had one little trouble spot, which is right in here, but I think that is my problem because I have other knives with kind of a similar profile, and I always seem to have issues right in there. So I think it's really just a sharpening technique, something I'm doing wrong. Now let's take a look at the sheath. The knife came with this leather sheath that's handmade by the knife maker himself. It has some nice leather work in here and stitching and things. A nice big loop for your belt. And my only complaint, really, my only little thing is that when we put the knife in, the retention strap is a bit loose. So as long as you're carrying it like this vertically, no problems, but the retention strap there, it doesn't really hold it in well. So if you get it upside down or anything, she's going to slip out. So really that's my only little thing. Just this could be a bit tighter to keep your knife in lock. That way if you're climbing around and things, it's not prone to slip out. All right, now let's see how she performs. Well, I guess in any look at a knife, eventually they're going to show you how well it slices through paper like a razor. Well, I don't have any paper out here, and I've never ran into any paper in the woods, so we're just going to try this bit of bark here. Oh look, it slices really well. No paper required. I mean, who's shaving with their knives anyway? Not even Crocodile Dundee shaved with a knife. Seems to be cutting pretty good. I'm using the forward part of the blade. Let's give it a little chopping test, because I think we're going to get really good results. So let's give it a try. So here are my preliminary thoughts on it as a chopper. Now, the blade profile does lend itself good to that, but what I noticed is that my hand's slipping back this way quite a bit. And if it weren't for the lanyard, my hand would probably slip off the knife. This area here, I think if it were down a bit further or back a bit further and out, it would lend itself to chopping a bit better, because then you could get a real good grip here, and I just don't feel that it's super secure when I'm chopping with it like that. And also the weight, the balance of the knife is actually more centered, like you would with most knives, bushcraft knives and stuff. You get a more centered balance, which is great for this kind of use, for normal knife use. But for chopping, with the extra steel up front, you would think that it would be heavy forward, and if it is heavy forward, like with cookery or something, you do get that weight going forward that helps you out with the chop, but you really don't have that with this knife. So just trying to carve out a little notch here. Now, one thing I've noticed is the spine is 90 degrees. It's very sharp. So you're going to have no problem throwing sparks from a fire steel with this. Super sharp. You almost can cut into your fingers here. Yeah, so that's good. Because people are going to want to see it, I thought I'd do fire seal test. Sorry, I'm going to mark up your beautiful knife, man. Oh yeah, really good. This is the first real chance that I've had the knife out, been able to use it. And I've got to say, even though the balance of the knife isn't forward, it's still a really good chopper for its size. I made this baton just chopping through. You probably won't even have to baton unless you're doing larger stuff. But we'll baton through a small piece, and then we'll baton through that larger piece just to see how it performs. My lanyard off here. That small one here. Get in a position. Oh yeah, no problem. The sharp edge is biting in. Sharp spine's biting into the baton a bit, but I mean, that's gonna happen. Let's try a larger piece. That's good when your baton gives out and not your knife. I think we're going to need a better baton. But, like I said, she chops great. There you go. So after an afternoon of abuse and using it in ways it probably wasn't intended to be used, it's still holding up really well. It's a bit dirty, but we can clean that up. The edge is still plenty sharp. There are no nicks or anything, so I'm pretty pleased. There you have my quick look at this custom knife from Veinot Knives. If you want to check out Darren's work, I've left some information below, so you can go and take a look at his other knives. He has some really nice stuff there. Any critiques I had are just my own opinions. I'm not really a knife expert, just my thoughts I thought I would share, and I hope Darren continues to make knives and just keeps cranking out even better, attractive stuff like this. Well, I'm super terrible at these outros, so I'm just going to say thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoy taking a look at that custom knife. I've got another video I'm going to do on a different knife by another custom knife builder here in Nova Scotia, so stay tuned for that one. Till then, this is Chris from Huckleberry Bastion. I'll catch you later. Now for those that have never seen one, this is a deer skull. See the lower jaw over here? See definitely the teeth of a herbivore grinding up plant material and such. Some bits of the spine here and the upper portion of the skull right here.